Hi, this is Hitesh and welcome to Database Master Course. So first question that arises is, what are databases? As with most things in the programming, if you want to understand databases, then don't jump directly into the features of database software. First, go the other way. Realize these things were designed to solve a problem. So what's the problem? Well, that might seem like an easy one. You have some data, some information. You, your company, your client, or even the business that you want to create. There is some data you need to store. And this data could be anything. It could be information about customers, products, employees, orders, details about the visits of your website. The data could be in text format. It could be names and descriptions, or numeric, amounts or dates. Or this could be document files or images, audio or video. But here's the thing, you can already store data. You could open up a text file or type your information into that, or open up a spreadsheet and do that too. If you have got documents, just organize them in the folders. Now, many business or small business would start like something like this, with a spreadsheet, and a lot of will continue this for years. And this might be okay, because just having a data is not good enough reason to have a database. Having data is not the problem. The problem is what comes next. And there's a lot of potential problem, but I'll describe 6 of them without even getting technical. Size of the data is a potential problem. Ease of updating your data, accuracy of it, security of it, redundancy of it, importance of the data. Let's take these one by one. First, size. Because what starts off as a small amount of data, it has a tendency to turn into a large amount of data. And if your spreadsheet solution is nice and speedy when there's 100 lines in it, but what happens when there are 2 million lines in it? Maybe you'd start to split up that into a bunch of different files. And then you have a sub-problem, speed. How would you find anything? Next, there is an idea of ease of updating your data. What happens if 2 people need to edit this spreadsheet at the same time? How about 20 at the same time, or 200 people at the same time? If you work with a file-based system, it's just going to happen. You'll end up with everybody overwriting everyone else's change. Then there's accuracy of the data. Is there anything that would actually prevent me typing incorrect data into a spreadsheet like this? 2 fat fingers a date as being in the past when it should be in the future, or just missing some vital piece of information out with the intention that I'll come back to do that and do it later. Well, usually there's nothing that would prevent me to doing so. So as these files get older and older, they start to fill up with data that isn't accurate. It isn't consistent. It isn't trustworthy anymore. And then there is the idea of security. Most of the time you need to show this data. But just because it needs to be shared with someone, it doesn't mean it needs to be shared with everyone, because some of this could be sensitive. It could be a payroll information, healthcare information. So who would get to view it and who would get to edit it? And if they do get to edit it, is all we know just the last person who edited this file? Or do we know who made every entry and every change at every point? Because with some information, healthcare, financial, there are laws in place to make sure you're auditing every alteration to the sensitive data. And there's the idea of redundancy, or duplication of your data, having multiple copies of the same data. Now, redundancy by itself is not a bad thing, but backup, it's a good to have redundancy. But in the data itself, not so good, because it leads to conflict. Maybe one file ends up with 2 entries for the same product. One say the product is $12 and the other say the product is $10. Which one is right? Or maybe that information is spread over a couple of different files, one owned by the department, one by other. Which one is true? And then there's importance of your data. You have probably felt the pain of working in a spreadsheet or a word processor where something happens. There's a crash or a disconnect and you lose 5 minutes of work, or an hour of work, or a day. It's annoying, but it's inconvenient. But if the information you just lost was yesterday's order, or the allergies of a patient, or the details of a stock trade, or the seat allocation of a flight that someone just paid for, that's not inconvenient, that's unacceptable. The data is critical. With many companies, your data is your entire business. You can lose any of it, not a single change, and you might have this problem. You might have all of these problems and more besides, but these are the reasons we need a database. These are the problems. It's not about providing somewhere to put your data. We could already do that. It's about allowing you that data to grow and still be manageable, still be easy to get to everything, about letting it to be easily updated even by lots of people at the same time, about keeping it accurate and internally consistent, keeping it secure and controlling access to it, who gets to read it, who gets to edit it, and tracking exactly what they did and when they did. It's about making sure that while your backups might be redundant because the data is critical, your data itself is not. There is one version of the truth, and once you make the change to that data, you will never lose that change. You will never lose the data. This is what a database can give us: structure. It's not a place to put your data. It's a structured system to put your data in that impose rules upon that data. And the rules are yours, because the importance of these things change is based on your needs. Maybe your main problem is size. You have terabytes of information, then you'll have different priorities for someone who has much smaller of data, which every single change must be controlled, audited, and logged the moment that when it was made. And this is why if your experience is just using a database someone else has made, you haven't seen what's important. That's totally forgivable. With someone who only working with database is using an old file maker or Microsoft Access database, that they think what is a database. It's like a spreadsheet. It's just more tedious to use, and that's not it all at all. This is the true power of a database. It's invincible. It's the thing that you can't see, that you are going in the background, and the security, the enforced integrity of the data, the ability to get it fast and get it reliability. It's that it's robust. It can withstand lots of people at the same time, and it can collectively survive crash and the hardware issues without corrupting the data. And that's what we need to do here. Understand how to describe our structure and define those rules. Some of these invincible stuff will actually happen. Now, up to this point, I haven't got into any particular database software or even any particular type of database, because they are different types. And some of them are better at one or more of these problems, but we will get to there. So that's all for this video, and thank you so much for watching.